do you see that as an economic development engine?
What a game changer. How wonderful. We're blessed to have that. I've been involved in the infrastructure with Emerson for 7 years now. The sewer system, I was sort of the architect, the engineer behind putting that in place that they're now benefiting from. I take partial credit for what's happening there. I was city engineer in Emerson 5 years ago, when Emerson looked like it was about, I don't want to offend my Kingston friend here, but it was real close to going in the way of Kingston. And had there not been aggressive, responsible leadership stepping in place, Emerson wouldn't be doing what's happening now. That's the front door of the future of our county. It's a game changer. I can't understate the importance of what that is, but don't be mistaken, it does not solve our problems. Without aggressive leadership and without assertive action leading us forward, with that as a new platform to launch forward, we'll lose the promise. We're so fortunate, we're so blessed to have Lakeland coming. More things will come, even better, if we do the right thing. Did I answer?
Yes.
Too many words, but yes, ma'am.
In government providing certain tax districts or certain benefits, such as, you know, unlimited water supplies and things like that, it draws industry and certain jobs, but as a loss of tax dollars. And so these tax dollars have to be recovered through the rest of the community in taxing other individuals. What is your response to that in drawing a business, but in shifting that burden to the rest of the county?
Wonderful question. Wonderful question. There have been mistakes made all over the Southeast in the last 20 or 30 years whereby governments have sold their soul and their subsequent generations with tax subsidies to bring things in. Places that don't have the opportunities that Bartow County has. That were necessary to bootstrap them from the 18th century, much less the 20th. If the right formulas and the right structures are not put in place, what she's saying is we wind up paying and shifting subsidies to those who come. We cannot do that. However, we have an obligation to ensure that basic services are in place at all places. We have also serious challenges in terms of, shall I say, informed decision making. Example, I sat across the table from governors, from county commissioners, from mayors for a long time as a consultant for Fortune 500 companies. It was my job to take plants to their next You Bet Your Company location across the country. Where would they add their next 300 jobs? Always on that table. I was the one that put the strategy and analysis together for Bearden Chemical, for Mitsubishi Electronics, for Kroger Manufacturing, for Tractor Supply, Perrier Bottling, Mitsubishi Electronics, blah, blah, blah. Always incentives, financial incentives, were there on the list. But I'm telling you that financial incentives didn't take us to those locations. That helped decide which one was the winner of the solution. But to get to that place, to get to that county, whether it was Fresno, California, or Austin, Texas, or Madison, Wisconsin, or Jacksonville, Florida, or Norcross, Georgia, what counted was the fundamental building blocks that were in place that made that a good place to be. Without quality, balanced life, without access to what we now have, those companies wouldn't have been looking at those counties. Quite often the decision was made on incentives. I can't answer specifics until I get there, but I resist the notion that we, during particularly a struggling time, must ask our struggling, strapped taxpayers to add more burden to a pile that they can't climb over already, to bring somebody who will be looking at a 10-year tax forgiving window. I'm not answering your question specific, because these are complex deals. you're talking to a subject matter expert in the area.
Well, that's just the fact that you understand the concept helps. I don't think all politicians even
Well, I'm talking on both sides of my mouth. Thank you. I'm not a politician either. I'm a candidate. Y'all have heard me over the county the last 6 months say, no, I'm a candidate. But that's a tough call. It takes me to, if I may answer another question you didn't ask. We've got the largest county in the United States with a sole commissioner form of government. How serious of a role is this in our county at our stage in life? We could easily break this model if we're not careful. But since when the commissioner sits down, it's a committee of one. It's the legislative and the executive function all in one person. It's quite easy to make a decision under a cloak of seeming darkness. Clarence Brown has done a wonderful job for 20 years. He's an honest man, honestly. He is an honest man. He's done a good job. He grew up in the government, and he knows it inside out. This is going to be a tough job for whoever's there. This is a serious decision. Look at my experience. Look at the experience of all the candidates, announced and unannounced. Come on, tell me who's running yet. I intend to do everything I can, because of this sole commissioner form of government, to put in, and this is a tired word, transparency in decision making. You'll find when I'm there, I won't be shy about making decisions, and I won't be shy of defending the decisions I make, and I want to make sure that whatever tough calls are made, like what you're talking about, after the fact, not during the negotiations, after the fact, defending why I decide what I did. We've got all sorts of technological platforms, all sorts of means to talk about how things are being done. I intend to find that, if I can find the way the organization can be moved forward. We've got a lot of challenges. This is my county. I was raised here. I can't describe to you how far we've come since I was that barefoot boy playing in Two Run Creek up in Cassville. But we have a lot of work to do in county government. I didn't answer your question.
Well, just the fact that you understand the concepts and the balancing act. Because if you give a company an incentive to bring in 300 jobs, that tax base leaves and somebody picks it up.
It's a cash flow issue, though. Jobs solve. It's sort of like Little League Baseball. Winning solves a lot of problems. Who's been managing a Little League Baseball team? Jan and I managed 950 games before we were